So you're looking at getting your next e-bike for trail riding and outdoor adventuring. Can the Levi SL be that bike? And that's up to £12,000. Is it worth it? Now, one thing that Levi is really stressed on with this bike is true outdoor adventuring. Now, the motor on this bike is designed to be as super quiet as possible and lightweight. Now, we're not looking for super 1000, 1500 watt motors on this thing. In fact, the motor that is paired with this bike is a 320 watt motor, but it is super quiet. There is no way you would know that this is an e-bike with an e-motor just by first glance. And the amount of support that it gives you is kind of what I'd like to explain where this motor sits. It's not to use throttle only. There is no throttle only on this bike. This bike is designed to assist you and give that heart pumping action for trail riding. I have not done trail riding for 20 years and this is making it super accessible for me. So that's where an e-powered e-motor mountain bike sits for this audience. Now, with the gearing on this bike, one thing I've definitely noticed, I am snapping between gears so quickly. It's a very smooth, seamless experience. Now, like that, it's such a nice, aggressive snap between all the gearing. With the handle, there are 2 points. You can simply snap higher or lower on your gearing, depending on what you need. Now, with most other e-bikes I've reviewed on the channel, I mostly leave the bike in its highest gear and just leave it there. But with this bike, due to that smaller motor, I seem to be doing a lot more fine-tooth adjustments with the bike, which is ultimately what that gearing is for. And I feel like a lot of time I've missed that trick with the gearing. It also almost makes those gears irrelevant when your motor's so powerful, you're not even using the gearing. So the gearing doesn't really matter because you're just going to leave it one and keep it there. But with the really efficient gearing system on this bike, I'm snapping a lot faster. So yeah, I'm going to go from a standstill. I'm going to try and get up to top speed quickly. 1, 2, 3. That's it, top gear. Now I'm cruising about 17 miles an hour, quite easily. I know 15.5 because this bike is restricted. Another thing about this e-bike, it's perfectly legal and it's capped at that 15.5 mile an hour top speed limit, which means you can ride this bike completely legally on the road without worrying about being pulled over and having your day ruined. Ooh, there we go. Now, one thing about this bike which I'm really enjoying is the display in the middle of the stem of the bike. It is a nice OLED display and it's easy to read at a glance, which is really important. It tells you the miles per hour, the time of day and the battery percentage left on the bike. Another thing I'm really enjoying is how firm and precise the front and back brake discs are. They are stopping you in a T. In fact, let's give it a little go. Oh, here we go. Brake. As you can tell, these brakes are super firm, which is what you need for trail riding. With that complex movements, being out on gnarly terrain, you need to know you're going to stop when you need to stop. Now, this is this bike in its ultimate location, trail riding in the forest and cruising around. First initial thoughts, this bike is so smooth. Oh, big divot here. Here we go. Ooh. Wow, I didn't even feel that. Yeah, and this bike is all about trail riding, being in dirt and having some fun. Now, this is the first time I've ridden a traditional mountain bike for 20 plus years.
It's been 84 years.
So this is kind of going in with complete fresh eyes. So this is like my first unbiased opinion of this bike and seeing what technology is available for your next trail riding adventure. Oh, this bike is so smooth on off-road trailing. The suspension is so good. Oh, right, let's go over these inclines. Whoa, oh my God. Whee! Oh my God. Right, let's get this thing down. Oh, wrong way. Gary, come on, you can do it. Yes. With e-mobility, it is notorious for being heavy and sluggish to ride around. Now, this bike, one of the rules for this bike, in fact, is to be a trail rider. lightweight, nimble and agile as anything out there. So the weight of this bike is 17.7 kilograms. Now I'm gonna lie, that is hard to do with one hand, but it's something that you can do. Now with that lightweight frame and design, reducing all that weight with that carbon fiber frame, it means you can navigate the trails with ease. Now this bike so far makes me feel like I was 10 again with my first bike, having that energy. As you can see, I'm having a workout as well. It's not just doing all the work for me. And this bike bridges the gap between outdoor adventures and accessibility. With this bike, you can go out trail riding all day and still break up a sweat. Now, this bike is configurable in many different ways. In fact, there are 6 different options for the frame of this bike, which means it is tailored to your riding needs. Due to that higher bespoke price set, this bike is configured for what your needs are. So it gives you a lot of versatility in the frame, shape and size to suit your riding style. Now this motor is outputting 50 Newton meters of torque. Now what does that mean? What it means is I am connected to this bike and it's not doing all that work for me. As I'm going out trail riding, I feel like I'm doing most of the work, but I'm sure that this motor is helping me to get there. Now I need to highlight the suspension on this bike. Now I'm doing some fairly average adventuring with trees. Oh, there's a big round here. Let's go down the hill. Ready? Whee! Oh, yeah, as I was saying, now the suspension on this bike has many forms of adjustment, and I feel like adjustment is the key with this bike. It gives you a lot of different riding positions, so you can really configure this bike to your own personal preferences. I am hitting some relatively gnarly trail riding today. The battery is actually surprisingly really good, and I haven't been kind to this thing. I've kind of been outdoor adventuring for about an hour and a half at this point, and I'm still on 75% battery. Now the battery for this bike is 320 watts of power. Also big tree roots here. There we go. Yeah, and the suspension on this bike is so nice. I feel connected, but I don't feel like the suspension is doing all the work for me. So I feel like this bike is giving you the accessibility to get out in the trails, go out in the forest, get dirty, get gnarly, have fun and get a big smile on your face. And it's really refreshing for an e-bike to take me to a place which I couldn't really interact with in a different way with another form of e-mobility. So an e-mountain bike, it just makes sense. Being out on the trails, navigating these tight twists and turns and trailing the outdoors in a different way. Now, there's many different forms of assistance you can decide for your bike. Now, I've got off, eco, trail, and turbo. It's turbo! That turbo's punchy. Woo! But I don't feel like it's needed, because I feel like with trail riding, it's lots of short sprints. Getting out there, navigating terrain, getting dirty. So much fun. Yeah, and this is what warned me to review this bike specifically. Now, with this bike demanding a premium price point, one thing that's really nice about the components on this bike is that they are built to last. This frame is made out of a full carbon fiber frame. This bike is just so lightweight and nimble. And the motor is IP67 dust proof. That doesn't imply that it is waterproof. So you do need to be aware of that. But if you're out for those gnarly, deserty, dry adventures, this bike is going to sit really, really nicely. It's just nice to be outside in nature, if you will, and being all like, I don't know, spiritual, being out on the trail. It's just nice. Now, a lot of e-bikes, especially off-road bikes, have really large, fat tyres, which is good for like urban exploration, bramble bush, but not the best for hardcore off-road trail riding. Now, what's nice about these wheels is that they're big, knobbly, and narrow, which means you can navigate these really tight spots and get through the outdoor trails with ease. Now, this bike's price point starts at £5,250 and scopes all up to over £12,000. Now, the main differences between that top model and the introductory model is mostly the extra features that the bike has. It has electronic handlebars, has electronic seat. There's loads of little extra features which you need to determine if they're appropriate for you. But why does this bike come with a hefty price point? It is mostly due to the weight saving technology and more outdoor adventuring focused rules when making this bike. This bike is silent, it is quiet, and you feel connected to nature, which is what outdoor adventuring should be all about. You don't want to go out there and disturb the wildlife, and then with this bike being a silent, lightweight, agile, nimble bike, it gives you those options. Now, this bike was lended to me from Grips, which is a local bike store in Rayleigh. So if you want to check it out for yourself and demo this bike, please be in contact with them and maybe tell them I sent you to try out this bike for yourself. But I'll put a link to the store in the description below. Now, from my review of the Levi SL, I feel like this bike is for someone who wants to have that support, the accessibility of getting into trail riding, maybe for the first time, or making it easier and more accessible for your outdoor adventures. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean it's exclusive for people who need that additional support. If you want a nice long endurance day, all day riding, this is what you want. With the battery that's in there, we've been out filming all day and I'm still on 62%, and I've been filming all day in the highest mode, not being kind to it. So overall, I'm very impressed with looking at e-bikes, especially e-mountain bikes, in a brand new way. And I feel like the Levi has definitely done that for me today. So if you want to check out this bike for yourself, there'll be a link to Grips, which I borrowed this for the day, so thank you very much. And also a link to the website. Neither one of those are affiliate links, though, just to share the knowledge and the experience of today, trying out a new style of PEV riding. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, drop a like, comment on any other e-bike or e-mobility you would love to feature on the channel. And if you're enjoying these different kind of videos on my channel, please let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, stay safe, stay riding, and I'll see you on the next one.